It's our video of 1958 Knarr that my wife and I discovered back in 1992, and we bought it. We were off on our honeymoon in Toronto, and we saw this boat at Wilson Harbor, New York. It was owned by Mike Kesterson, who was a rep for Johnson and Johnson, I think, mentholatum rub. He had done well, so we found this boat. This is me out sailing with the Maine after we brought it home. They were delivered on ship from Norway to the Great Lakes back in the 50s. Buffalo Canoe Club had them, Rochester Yacht Club had them, Alcott Yacht Club. It's a little bit larger rig than the normal Knarr. The Americans wanted more sail, I think because Lake Ontario wasn't quite as rough as areas around Oslo. I brought it out of the barn here. It's been in storage, and then we sold our barn and we ended up putting a plastic cover on it for the winter. So it just recently took the cover off to check it out. It hadn't been outside in winters since I had owned it in 20 years, but that was the first winter, and it did okay, but plastic on the wood wasn't great. There's the engine well right there looking back. Cleaned it up a little bit and just taking some video shots of the transom. It's the louvered doors that were installed during the rebuild back in 1988. It was completely restored by a company near Buffalo, 5-star, and they went through it. Mike Kesterson told me, and I have records that he spent $13,000 restoring it. It's got lots of sistered ribs and many new planks in the bottom. It's a very solid boat. My wife and I sailed it to Canada, which is about 40 miles straight across the lake and back during one of our summers back in the 90s. I didn't put a lot of time on it in the lake because life got a little busy and I had a new job, and it takes a lot to maintain a wooden boat, make sure it's not out in the elements too much. So a lot of its time has been stored in a pole barn with wood, pole barn with a gravel floor, so the wood never really dried out too badly. It was always fairly moist in there. Not enough to do any damage, but enough to keep the wood from shrinking. Painted a bigger boot stripe on it, made it look a little wider, and there's a little damage right there to the tow rail where it was hit by another boat. That can be easily repaired. The only other damage was to a jumper strut at the top of the mast. One of the spreader jumpers, the oak piece that was broken. It's also easy to repair. This is a piece I added of oak across the middle of the cockpit, and you'll see a picture of it here coming up again. There's wind channels underneath. Here it is. I put this here because it was much easier to deal with the main sheet with the split cockpit with a traveler. I could handle it from the helm, and then somebody else could handle the jib with those handles that are permanently attached underneath the winches. And looking inside, it's very clean, in very nice shape. You know, it looks just like what you expect a wooden boat to look like. You can see the sistered ribs right there, and some planking that's newer planking in there. It's all pretty pristine from 1988 when it was all redone. Brand new mast step down there. There's the boom. Above it's the spinnaker pole. I don't think it's in that shot there. I'm looking aft through the door, companionway, back out into the cockpit. Another couple more shots of the inside here. We got just a still shot showing the cabinetry on one side, matching on the other. Just panning around. The windows are in great shape. Nothing leaks. The cabin top has been completely fiberglassed, and so is the deck. The deck is also fiberglassed and painted. Looking forward into the bow, nice and clean. The ribs are nice. There's a metal strut to hold the forestay, give it support. And handrails, they're all refinished but haven't been installed. They're just waiting to be installed. Here we have one side still has a drawer. You have a drawer on one side. It's a very deep drawer. The other side's been removed so that the engine well could be added, which could be taken out if you have to put it into your put an inboard motor in. You could do that. Outboard is a British Seagull 5-horse, which gets it around okay. Kind of puts along. The doors fit nicely, and the Slides back nice and easy. In pretty good shape. There's a really old split in the top of that, but you can see, but it's been there for ever since I've owned it. And another look around on the inside here. It's just showing the down inside the cockpit seats. There's stuff left there from years. On the other side, I think I used to keep the fuel and just paint supplies in there. Just on that side, nothing. It's not too messy there. Looking back, some sistered ribs, nicely done. Really, everything was done very clean and neat, just like I would hoped. Mahogany replaced with mahogany, and oak replaced with oak. Floorboards, lift them up, you'll see everything's clean. Keelson actually has a keelson, I believe, the board on top of the keel. They're kind of layered. And rudder post back there. And where are we going next here? Oh, there's a crank handle there for the backstay. It's down below. You may have seen that. Here is the winch handle. Interesting to have it underneath, but very clean. You're never going to get out of the way. It's always attached, so you never have to find the winch handle. The rudder is in nice shape. Everything's nice and clean. The iron keel, I put epoxy on it so it didn't rust. I blasted it down and then ground it down and put epoxy on, so there's no iron showing through on that. Looking forward, planks are pretty tight for sitting. Sides are done. Shot of the bow here, nice shape. All very clean. Looking aft. A few shots. Plastic tarp did not, or cover, this shrink wrap did not do it any favors. It kept some water trapped against it, and so there's a mildew on the side. Another shot of the other side here. There's the depth sounder, sender for a depth sounder. Over here's the some speed, and below that, the same side is a drain. You pop that out after they lift it. There's this little look at the split in that tow rail, which can be easily repaired with a piece of mahogany to match, but that's kind of and Arbor Love, our boat for over 20 years.